Hello, campers. This is Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, and you're listening to Darkness Before Dawn with Andrew Durand. And I'm just very honored and pleased to be the bully in the lake on this show. And it's episode 8. Is that right, Andrew?
That's correct, Ari. How you doing, dude?
I'm good. How's that for an intro, man?
That was perfect. Excellent.
Well, I'm feeling good here. I'm in Chicago, and it's it's going well. But of course, my character is always there at Camp Crystal Lake. He's still there now. People don't understand this about Jason, but
he never leaves.
He's a separate entity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he never dies.
It never dies. Jason never dies.
Yeah. Thanks to the amazing fans out there. But see, I don't know if they're aware of that. It's not like, this isn't the Bozo show. Once the show is over, Jason's still there waiting. He's just like that. He's inconsolable. It's a vengeance that will never be satisfied. What can you say?
That's true. Hey, Ari. How did you become the first Jason?
As a kid, I was always really into two things. One was music, and the other was movies. Yes. So I wanted to decide what I wanted to do. And then also, I played soccer, which was a crazy coincidence. I lived in Westport, Connecticut. That's where I grew up. Okay. And so did Sean Cunningham. Okay, Sean Cunningham, the director of many fine films, including Spring Break, including this movie that I was in called Manny's Orphans. And he made a lot of fine films, as well as his huge smash hit, Friday the 13th. Yes. So I was this kid, and so some of my buddies, you remember this movie, the Bad News Bears?
Yes.
With Walter Matthau. Okay. So Sean kind of wanted to get away from, the whole thing with Wes Craven, Last House on the Left. He had a nice family in Connecticut, and he wanted to go towards something a little more family, a little more wholesome, which, I think he's done in his career after Friday the 13th. But, okay, so he was doing this movie about a ragtag bunch of orphans that win their orphanage back from the mob in a soccer tournament. And my buddy said, "Hey, Ari, why don't you come and try to audition for this? It's at the YMCA." So I literally snuck in. I didn't have an agent. What I did was I brought a clipboard with me to look official, and I walked up to the ladies. I said, "Okay, where's the audition?" And I looked at them, and I had a pen, and they said, "It's upstairs." So I think I wrote upstairs on this pad, and I just walked upstairs. And they're like, "Hey, come," but I didn't listen. I kept going. So I was handed a script, and I landed an 80-line role in that movie of Roger, who was kind of a take on Porky's. Because I was a little pudgy back then, and so Roger was always walking around with a Playboy magazine and being that kind of guy, looking into the girls' bathroom and stuff like that. So I landed that role, and but see, the problem was soccer not being very popular back in 1978. That movie, even though it had New York Cosmos in it, like Werner Roth and all these really cool people, but they were telling him, "Listen, give us something else so we could sell it." And it was like Sean and writer Victor Miller came up with Friday the 13th. It was totally, Sean's idea at first. It was a total kind of frank imitation of Halloween, and so. But then, okay, he calls me up. He says, "Hey, Art, we've got a movie here. We need you to come down to the office. We only have a short time. Can you come down?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "Ari, can you swim?" I'm like, "Yes, I can swim, Sean." And that was it. That's how I landed the role.
Wow. That's crazy.
So always take your swimming lessons seriously, kids. I mean, there's an overall water safety theme when you think about it to Friday the 13th. You know, if you'd only used the buddy system, none of this would have happened.
Hey, that's true. That's true. Very true.
But you know, the first scene I was in, of course, was the drowning sequence.
Right.
In which, you know, when I was a kid, Jaws was so popular, so I used to go out in the water all the time. I'm sure that you're in Rhode Island there, you know, you've got your beaches, and you go out there. I've been out to Block Island, in fact, and we used to always pretend, you know, that Jaws was eating us, because I realized my parents were very afraid of that.
Yes.
So I wanted to tease them. On the beach, they were, you know, nice, eating their little picnic with their little wine, and I would be like, I'm dying out here. And they would run to me, no, they would laugh. So maybe like the third time after that, they wouldn't pay any attention. So I perfected that, and there was all these little moves there, and that's what, when they said, okay, we want you to drown, I just pretended like Jaws was eating me, like straight up.
Right.
And then I looked up, and they were like, perfect. That was it. One take.
One
and
take.
I was like, you know, what? I thought they were kidding, but no, that was it. It was done. But so I went home thinking, wow, I was in this movie where I drowned. That kind of sucks. You know, I didn't, you know, who knows? You know, the other movie was better with the soccer and the Playboy magazine. But so then, as you know, that's not the only scene Jason has in Friday the 13th. There's the famous final scene. Right. Thank goodness, or thank evil, as the case may be. Thank evilness, because he said to me, they called me back. Now, we had wrapped in August of 1979, but it was now October. And he called me back. He said, Ari, we've got another scene. We want you to come out to New Jersey to film this other scene. And I'm like, you know, but how could there be another scene because I'm dead? And he said, no. You get your revenge. Ooh. And I went, I remember the goosebumps, and I was like, you know, I was so excited. I actually took a bus all the way out. They had me in a bus all the way out to New Jersey. And, so that famous final scene, of course, is how Jason exists. Because without that, there'd be no big Jason Voorhees with the hockey mask and all that.
Right. Now, I know you said, and I'm pretty sure all your fans know you're a musician as well. Do you prefer being on tour with your band or doing horror conventions, or do you like them both equally?
Well, thank you for that third part. I mean, I do kind of like them both equally. It all depends on, you know, the scenario, and nowadays things are going very well for horror. It's kind of mainstream, you know, after The Walking Dead and American Horror Story and all these things, and the success of It and the success of Halloween again. So things are going very well, certainly on the horror scene. You know, I'd say 2/3 of what I do is with the band. First Jason. We just released our 4th album. That's called Lord of the Lake. If fans just want to check out firstjason.com, we've got some new videos there. There's a new song, Kill for Mother, and we're going to be releasing that video soon. But there's a clip right at firstjason.com. And, you know, of course it's a lot of fun being with the band, man, you know, because and I feel like certain conventions take advantage of that too. And they'll have an after party, and instead of just having the DJ and the karaoke, they throw in, you know, First Jason and a couple local horror bands, or, you know, that's happening more and more, to tell you the truth. Right. And we've had a lot of fun with that. We were just at New Jersey Horror Con in Atlantic City. Yeah. And the whole band was there. So that was a perfect situation, because that was the perfect storm, because everybody, you know, it was the second time I've been at that event. And it's a very well-run event. They do an amazing job, Ryan and his team, and it's just so much fun. And they had it at the Showboat Casino, and it's right on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. So, you know, the only problem with that show is you tend to not go to sleep early enough, and it just goes, it's just a party for 3 days. But that's not bad. They had DJ Ramone was there. Yeah. We met a lot of amazing people. Vinny Appice was there, the drummer.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and so for me, that situation is great when it's done right. And but on the other hand, we are Andrew. We are proud to be like the foot soldiers of horror rock out there. Because First Jason is based in Chicago. A lot of the shows we do in the Midwest and South,
Yep.
where we just drive in our van, And the way I look at it is, we love to go out to these towns in the middle of nowhere. Like, okay, sometimes smaller. Like, okay, the next tour we're doing on May 9th, we're going to be in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Then on May 10th, we're going to Agawam, Massachusetts, which is near Springfield. And then we're going to Binghamton, New York, on the 11th. And so, it's a case in point. These are all towns where we're very well received because it's not, the super big town where we're competing with, I don't know, Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, et cetera.
Right.
In this case, what happens is the local horror-themed rock bands, whether it's death metal or horror punk, or even now you're seeing some different goth electronica stuff. And there's also hip-hop, where you've got horrorcore, we call it. You've got some amazing performers, and they all come out. As a matter of fact, horrorcore is big in Agawam for some reason at the club called The Tank, which is at like a VFW Legion post with a big tank in front.
Nice.
And so they get all ages, and they get, it's a fundraising thing, and they get all these bands. And so it's very exciting doing that. I'm always eager to meet the fans, especially kids and stuff who are just learning about Jason, and I like to goof around with them, and so that we don't get as much. The families we don't get as much, of course, at the clubs. So ultimately, I'm wearing three hats. Ultimately, the band is the biggest hat. The convention scene, being kind of an ambassador of Crystal Lake or whatnot, and then of course I'm acting in a lot of independent horror films. But that's
right.
Definitely the smallest part of what I do. I like to do that. I think I'm better suited at being a stage performer than a film actor. But in some cases, they give me great characters where I can be totally crazy, and then it works. Like in The Barn, for instance.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, thank you. You remember I'm Dr. Rock there in The Barn,
Yep.
You're on the rock block with Dr. Rock. And they basically just cast me as myself. I mean, even my guitar is in that movie. And there's some other stuff coming up where the guitar is featured. But let's see, there's also Clown Motel, where they really let me go absolutely crazy as a kind of murderous juggalo clown out in the Tonopah Desert that was filmed actually at the Clown Motel.
Oh, nice.
So, when they let me do that kind of thing, I'm well suited. But acting is a certain kind of task, and there's a lot of waiting around involved, and
right.
I like to be on, to be standing between a kick-ass band and a crowd that's just going crazy. That's the best thing in the world. So
right.
That can't be beat.
Hey, Ari, I know you probably have a lot of them, but what's one of your best memories with Betsy Palmer on set of Friday the 13th?
Oh, Betsy Palmer, man, that's the greatest thing. I know Betsy not from the set, my brother, but from the conventions. Okay? And we became, she took me under her wing. I'll explain the first time I met her was that it was a combination Chiller Theater Fangoria convention that they had at the Meadowlands.
Oh, nice.
And there were so many people there. It was one of the first conventions I had ever done. I think it may have been the first. And so I'm at a table. They say, okay, go on in there. The people are going to come in later. I don't know what to say. and there's this lady across at another table. And instantly I'm like, oh my God. Now, she's never seen my face unless maybe she picked up Fangoria or something. She only knows me from, the mask of little Jason,
Right.
So I walk over, and this tells you volumes about who she is. I walked over to her, and I just opened my arms, and I went, Mom, like that. Like, just, hi, Mom. Like, I thought maybe she knew. I don't know. And she looks at me, and she doesn't miss a beat, and she just hugs me. And she just hugs me. And then she puts her arms on my shoulders, and she puts me back and looks me dead in the eye and says, now who the hell are you? She had no idea who I was. But I said, Mom, and she gave me a big hug. And then I explained, and then she said, then I'll give you another hug. Betsy Palmer played my mother in Friday the 13th. But she had the same birth date as my mother, November 1st.
Did she?
And she was a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian. She was also an amazing chef. She was just the greatest person. I can say this now. Like, for instance, we would eat together, and she would like, Jack Daniels. No. It's Maker's Mark for him. Like she was a classy lady. She I don't know if people know, but she was a very sought after woman in her days in Hollywood. She dated James Dean and Marlon Brando, and I mean, the best story. I'll give you a good anecdote. I mean, we used to hang out together all the time, and we would do these events together, and I would come out, in all the Metal Gear, But I'm a ray of sunshine. I'm like wearing my Metal Gear up there, smiling at everybody. And she'd come out in her little old lady, sweater, like I'm, the old lady. And then she would just go right into the penis jokes. She would have everybody laughing so hard, and I would turn bright red because I'm not, And she would go, what's the matter, Ari? She would make jokes about, was the water cold? Oh, my God. No, I'm telling you, I've never in my life seen people actually fall out of their chairs laughing, except for when I was on stage with Betsy Palmer. I mean, literally falling out of their chairs. So, I mean, she used to say to me, this is the story, I guess you can say this nowadays. She used to always say to me, Ari, pass the joint. It's not a microphone. I can say that nowadays. No, man. She was the coolest. She was the best person to have on your side, let me tell you. I mean, my mom passed when I was 20, so to have Betsy around was something else. And, I'm definitely not replacing my mom,
right.
But, she was still the best buddy ever. She would not let anybody mess with me. Man, she was the greatest.
It's awesome. Hey, Ari, my last question. Do you have any new projects coming up? And what new cons are you going to be doing coming up soon?
Well, they just today announced that I'm going to be up at Frightmare in the Falls in Niagara Falls there.
Nice.
And what else? We've got, let's see, in June, we're going to be, I told you about this stuff in May. In June, we're going to be over there in Lincoln, Nebraska, doing a big benefit for the Metal Manifesto radio show, which is on KZUM, I think. Anyway, so we're going out there for that. And then in July, we're going to be down in New Orleans as part of Creepy Fest, which anybody down in NOLA, you should be checking out. I did a movie with Bill Hines and Jen Attaway, who are the stars and the creators of Creepy Fest, with their bands, the Paul Bearers and many more. So it takes over the French Quarter in the middle of July. And First Jason's going to be there July 17th. We're actually going to be the kickoff party. First Jason is first for Creepy Fest.
Yes.
And anybody in that area, got to check that out. Then, gosh, they have me, I'm just trying to think of, there's things that have been booked and not confirmed. I want to make sure that I say all the, the things have been confirmed but not announced. You know, and announce it before they do, kind of thing. But we've got like I said, there's that Niagara Falls thing coming up, and I'm going to be going over to Germany too for the Weekend of Hell over there. So I don't know if you have any listeners in Germany, but Weekend of Hell is in Dortmund, and that's in November. So there's a bunch of stuff. And let me tell you, I list everything at firstjason.com, especially the band concerts, and everything gets announced at Instagram, firstjason13, and on Facebook, it's First Jason Official. But we used to go over to Europe a lot more. First Jason played at Bonn FearCon in Bonn, Germany, which is great.
Oh, nice.
Because, I know how to say Jason Never Dies in like 7 languages now, But the best one is, like in Spanish, it's like Jason nunca muere. In French, it's Jason ne meurt jamais. But, the best one is, of course, in German, it's Jason stirbt niemals.
That's awesome.
Niemals! Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a great thing. I have a lot of fun with it. I don't take myself too seriously, as you can probably tell, but I take the character Jason. Jason is a mythical character that we all share, and the fans out there are the most important thing to me.
Right.
If I can make a connection like we do at the table, or if I can, sometimes we're out there in the middle of some cornfield in the Midwest, and there's these rock and roll clubs, and everybody's just having a great time. The way I see it, all week long, people have to put up with stress and their boss and just everything and all this insanity in the news. And for 2-3 hours, they're going to just be able to kind of escape from that and forget about that.
Right.
And, I'm dedicated to that levity, even if we have to scare you into forgetting about all those things by having, Jason Voorhees up on stage, killing people with a, fake machete, of course, and and my guitar is on a giant machete too, which is kind of fun. But I'm not frightening personally. No one's ever found me frightening, but
very nice guy.
Our music is frightening.
Ari, I want to thank you so much for doing the show for me.
Thank you. Darkness Before Dawn. Why'd you call it that?
I don't know. It's just really catchy to me. That's just really, it just caught me. So it's the name I attracted to.
I think it's a great name. It's a great title because it's evocative and mysterious, but also it kind of says like, maybe we have to, I don't know, this is very poetic, but, to embrace the darkness before we can reach the dawn. I don't know.
Yeah, hey.
I'll leave you with that thought.
Excellent. Ari, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Andrew.
Have a good rest of your day, man.
You too. Jason Never Dies.